hard to keep your mind from wondering, like, is she being taken care of? Is she crying? Is somebody picking her up? Is she wet? Does she have a runny nose today? You know, like, you just go through all that stuff, and you want to be there to care for her and pick her up and love on her and wipe her nose if it's runny. But, you know, it wasn't my time yet. And I just had to find peace in that. Like, who's caring for her is supposed to be caring for her at this time, and then my time will come. But I had to do a lot of mental work. I did a lot of meditations. I did a lot of outdoors wilderness stuff to get my mind, you know, preoccupied, because I couldn't just sit at home and think about it, or my mama's heart would be very heavy. So, yeah.
When they say love has no boundaries, we have seen many examples of people taking it literally and going beyond and far to attain what they think would fulfill their quest. For me, love has always been an act of giving and setting no expectations in return. As the more you give, and if the person you love thinks you deserve the same love, they would definitely find a way to you, or even the circumstances would conspire for you to get to the person. But one thing one should never ever do in love is giving up. Love is never ever about giving up. Welcome to the Wominspiria podcast, the podcast which is your one stop for your daily dose of inspiration. And I'm your host Revati, who strongly believes that inspiration always begins from thyself and is actually triggered by the people around us. Hence, my podcast works to bring to you the stories of common people living amongst us, doing extraordinary things with ease. And they of course need a platform to be recognized for being such great inspiration to people. So is the story of Johonna and Shane, who are carrying forward their family's tradition of adoption. In a world where today people have second thoughts about growing their love for each other, people like Johonna and Shane are the ones restoring hopes and belief that love, when shared, makes this world a better place, and that once you start adhering to love and spread it, your life finds its purpose, and that's what defines you as a human. Recording this episode was overwhelmingly emotional and is close to my heart, since as a mother and someone who has always shared the same school of thought as Johonna's, I still haven't made my life as purposeful as hers. Let's get to know more about Johonna's journey in her words. So hello and welcome to the Wominspiria podcast. Today I'm out of words because I'm that way excited to invite Johonna to my podcast today. So there are several people in the world who blame others about taboos. And there are people who take the blame and break the taboos. And here Johonna is one of those parents who broke the taboo of adoption, of accepting the kid who is not genetically belonging to her, but now she is. So I'm really happy. Thank you very much, Johonna, for being here. I'm so excited, and I don't know. I'm actually I'm getting emotional today talking to you.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
It's the same here. The feeling is mutual, if you ask me. All right. All right, Johonna. So when I start my podcast, I start with asking my guests, what are the 2 affirmations that they say to them every morning?
What are the motivations that get me up every morning?
Yes, that you say to yourself every morning.
Oh, probably the biggest thing is just I am grateful.
All right.
And my mantra that I say to myself all the time is I am loving awareness, which is from one of my favorite mindfulness coaches, Ram Dass. I listen to him often. So that just reminds me that I am loved, and I am also fully aware of my surroundings so that I can be present in every moment of the day. So those are my 2 things I normally say every morning.
Beautiful. That's a lovely way to start your day.
Yeah. Either that or their kids, you know.
Yes. All right. So, Johonna, tell me about yourself. Tell me about your family. Tell me who are you and who is Shane, and then we can talk about adoption later. Tell
Sure.
me, give us a small gist about your family. And who are you guys?
Yeah, so I'm Johonna Mylius. My husband is Shane Mylius. We have been married coming up on our 10-year anniversary soon. We've been together since we've been in high school, so we've grown up together. We kind of always knew that we were meant to be for each other. So, and we have a 5-year-old biological daughter. Her name is Kyla. And then we have a 3-year-old adopted daughter. Her name is Naina, that she's coming up on her 1-year mark, coming home soon. So that's very exciting in March. Yeah. So that is our short little tiny family so far.
All right. Okay. So now let's get into that question.
Sure.
Why?
Yeah. So we chose to adopt. Shane and I had this idea to adopt when we started dating in high school. Both sides of our family has adopted. So my family is adopted domestically, and then his side of the family has adopted internationally. And so it's been a part of how we were grown up. Both of our parents taught us that love has no bounds. You don't have to identify or be the same as anybody. Love is love, and that was a great foundation to be raised on. And then Shane's family brought home his brother Samuel from Uganda while we were together in high school. So we were able to be a part of that process, to be involved with it, to see where Samuel came from, to see how he blossomed when he came home and the love that he was being able to be given. And us being a part of that and seeing that, we really made the commitment, like, man, like whenever we are ready and when the time's right, we definitely want to do that as well. So that was a big driving factor. We wanted to try and have our first biological child first, which we were able to do. And then instead of having another biological child, we decided that, we wanted them to be close in age and grow together, and instead of getting pregnant again, and start the process of adoption. Yeah.
All right. All right. So tell me, why India?
So we chose India just because of their orphan to child ratio is pretty high. And then also the child success rate after they have been in an orphanage, or maybe they're aged out of an orphanage. So the child success rate, is pretty low for Indian children who are aged out of an orphanage, where a lot of them go into sex trafficking or they're homeless, and that was just heartbreaking to us. So we chose India mainly for that reason, and just because, the opportunities that we would be able to give them would hopefully allow them to blossom even more and not fight so hard. So yeah, that's the main reason we chose India.
All right. All right. So have you been to India before?
No, so we haven't. So that was also something we were a little intimidated by. Shane and I have traveled internationally many times, but we've never been able to go to India. So when our adoption agency suggested India, we were kind of like, we've never been there. We don't know. Nothing against the culture, just like if something that you've been in, you're more familiar with it,
Right.
So we took the time and did a lot of research on it. We researched a lot of the culture and the people, obviously, and the orphanages and things like that. And we were just so enthralled by the beauty of it, and we really loved it. And we were like, yeah, let's do it. Like, that looks amazing. So the first time we went to India was when we went to go pick up Naina, and unfortunately COVID cut that pretty short. So we're excited to hopefully travel back soon, or in the future, when Naina is a little bit older, and take her back to where she came from. Yeah.
Right. All right. So when did all this process begin? Who brought up I understand that both of your families have been through the process of adoption. So you understand how it is to be an adopted family. So when both of you dated, who brought this up? Whose idea was it?
It was mine. Because I think we were both talking
Wow.
about, I think we were both discussing, okay, so are we going to start trying again for another baby? Or,
Hmm.
do we want to start the adoption process? And I think I kind of brought that conversation up because Kyla was getting to the age where we wanted to make that decision. And
Hmm.
I remember thinking, I think this is a time where we need to start the adoption process. And Shane agreed with me on that. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So these are the couple goals.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
So when did this process begin? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we found our agency. So we went through an adoption agency, which was
Hmm.
something that I would highly suggest for anybody who is thinking about adopting,
Yeah.
especially for the first time,
Hmm.
because they help you through everything. And there's so much involved in adoption that, like, I would have never known. And
Hmm.
just the paperwork side of it on
Right.
on both ends is very intimidating. So we found our agency through the social worker that actually helped bring his brother home. So
Mm-hmm.
she was the same one that he did his home study in when Shane was in high school, and so she was able to do our home study now that we're adults, which was pretty cool.
All
And
right.
so she was a part of this agency, so we chose that agency, and we did our home study,
Mm-hmm.
which is like a background check, and they come and look at the home and all the things. And then we got onto like a database where it has like
Mm-hmm.
orphans that are to be adopted and then parents who are looking to adopt, and see if you match or
Okay.
correlate and what you're open to, medical needs wise, age wise, gender sometimes,
Hmm.
and that's what we got uploaded to that database about a year after we started the process.
All right.
And then we were matched with Naina about 3 months after. Well, we weren't a direct match with Naina, but we accepted Naina as a match about 3 months after being on the database. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how we found Little Miss Naina.
So when you're telling me you found your match, so is
Hmm.
it like you had you had told them earlier that what are you looking for? I mean,
Yes.
what kind of child you're looking for, or what is it? Is
Yeah,
it
kind
only the
of. It's
gender
kind
of
of
the
more
child?
like if
Hmm.
you're open to, like, because a lot of the orphans have some medical needs, so it's
Hmm.
what you're comfortable caring for. So if you're comfortable with severe medical needs or mild medical needs, or you want a healthy child, or you're more specific in your age where you want an older child or you want a younger
Hmm.
child. So that's more like, I
Yes.
guess, the criteria for
Hmm.
it, so that you're not matched with a 12-year-old and
Right.
you're only are looking for a younger child situation, things
Hmm.
like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I saw you've been very regular with posting your uh, the proceedings that you've
Mhm.
been doing with Naina's adoption.
Yes.
So and you had posted a checklist,
Yes.
right?
That checklist was my life. Yes.
Yes, as I understand, because every now and then you've been posting that, and every time the checklist got checked, you've been posting the in your postings. I mean, in
Yeah.
your Instagram posts.
Yeah.
So I've been seeing that.
Yeah, that
So
was just something mentally that I was like, okay, finally, one more step closer. Okay, one more step closer. Because a lot of it was so much paperwork, you're just like, oh, like, I don't really care about this paperwork. I'd rather just get it over with, but it's part of the process.
okay, so tell us that how much time did each and every step take?
It's hard to say. So
Hmm.
the pre stuff before we were matched with Naina was about a year, and then after
Hmm.
we got matched with Naina, we were registered for Indian court to get custody of her. Probably
Wow.
like 4 months after we accepted her match. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then we were just stuck in court for about 8 months when COVID hit. So we were completely
Right.
stagnant for 8 months, which was probably
Hmm.
the hardest part because we were so close. Because as soon as we got custody, we would be traveling. And so it's like that one last step that was just completely frozen for us. So, all in all, the whole process took closer to 3 years when normally it only takes about a year and a half. But
Okay.
every journey is different. I know people it's taken a while for them to adopt because different states are different in India, or different judges
Hmm.
may be more strict, things like that. So normally the process is about a year and a half. Ours took 3 years, but literally every journey is different. The's no like straight journey to a
So
child.
even 3 years is pretty long.
It was a very long
Long.
time. Yeah,
Yes.
it felt very long too.
So I understand you were very much determined to have Naina with you.
Yes.
So tell us about how was your emotional journey was throughout. How did you keep yourself sane?
Well, sometimes I wasn't always sane, but it's so hard because when you fall in love with a picture, and we get snippets of videos every now and then when the orphanage was able to do so, and you just watch the videos over and you're obsessing over them, and it's hard because at night I would go to sleep and know like over in India, she would just maybe be waking up, and it's hard to keep your mind from wondering, like, is she being taken care of? Is she crying? Is somebody picking her up? Is she wet? Does she have a runny nose today? Like you just go through all that stuff and you want to be there to care for her and pick her up and love on her and wipe her nose if it's runny. But, it wasn't my time yet. And I just had to find peace in that. Like who's caring for her is supposed to be caring for her at this time. And then my time will come. But I had to do a lot of mental work. I did a lot of meditations. I did a lot of outdoors wilderness stuff to get my mind, preoccupied, because I couldn't just sit at home and think about it, or my mama's heart would be very heavy. So, yeah.
So that's what a mother is. That defines a mother.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Those emotions get crazy.
Correct. All right. Okay, let's talk about Keller.
Yeah.
How has she been taking this? Right from the beginning. Yeah.
A sassy little thing. She is incredible. So the whole time during the process, we had her involved the whole time. So she knew that we were adopting. She knew that she was going to get a little brother or sister. When we got matched with Naina, she knew it was going to be a little sister, and she was so excited. And then she helped us decorate her room while we were waiting. And then when she got her visa to go to India, or her passport, she was just ecstatic that she was able to get to go on a big plane to go pick up her sister, So we made sure she was involved in the whole process and felt like she had a role in it as well. There wasn't just something added to her that's taking away mom and dad's time. This is her responsibility too, to welcome Naina and to be a big sister and to love on her and show her the way. And so I think that really helped her feel like she was in it, and that this is also my sister. It's not just my, a new addition. It's my sister.
Yes.
So while we were over in India, like, I'm so thankful that we had her with us, because Naina immediately went to Kyla and loved playing with her, and yes, and like just giving her attention, and she would be giggling, and so that helped us bridge the gap where, okay, well, I can trust this little girl, maybe I can trust them too. So that really helped. And since being home, they're sisters, they fight like sisters do. They're only 18 months apart, so sharing is hard, attention's hard, tempers are high, all the things. But, Kyla has been so patient, and she was, they both go to the same daycare. And I remember the first time we dropped them off at this daycare, and she just showed her off to everybody. This is my new sister. She's from India. We just came back from India, and if people are like, she's not the same color, she's like, it doesn't matter. She's my sister, she would get.
Of course, yes.
So yeah, she's been doing really great. She really has. We're very proud of her.
Oh, that's so cute.
She's a smart one. For her 5-year-old age, she's so smart. So
right, true. So that's why they say children are angels, God sent.
Yes, absolutely. They hear and they're in tune with all of it. They know,
Yes. And we can say one thing, that there is a lot that we get to learn from children.
Oh, yeah.
Wisdom's
on their ears.
All right. So, Johonna, tell me, why adoption? So since your family is into, it's a tradition in your family.
Yeah, yeah.
So why, if you ask a person like who's looking to have a child of his own
Mm-hmm.
and he's not able to,
Mm-hmm.
well, how would you convince the parent? More
I
than
think,
convincing, yeah, it's not convincing is not the right word. If you ask
yeah, no, like
me.
just
Right.
encourage them, I guess. It's
Yes.
hard because
Hmm.
you want the child, you have an idea that you want a child to fill a void within you.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I think the root of adoption comes from just wanting to share your love with something, not to fill a missing part of you. Um, and I'm not saying every person has to be whole or know themselves fully to adopt or to have a
Hmm.
child. I think when you go through a process like adoption, you have to be mentally ready
Yes.
and know yourself first, because the adoption process isn't easy. And that's not to stir anybody away from it. But if you don't know yourself when you start, you're going to know yourself by the end of it, because
Of course. Of
it's
course.
the
Yes.
part of it. And the child needs to know that you know who you are. Because if you want a child to come into your life and fill a void, that's a lot of pressure on the child to do, on top of bringing them into a whole new family, out of their habitat and all that stuff. So it's a little bit rockier road, but I would encourage them to think about adoption as that child deserves your love just as any child does, because
Yes.
they have done nothing wrong.
Correct.
They're still loved, and their parents had the courage to try to give them a life that they know that they couldn't. So I would just encourage them in that a little bit. Take a look at what love actually is and let go of what your expectations should be.
Yes. Yes. So let's talk about the insecurities adopting parents go through.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand that you have to start ignoring the judgmental looks and the comments that people
Mm-hmm.
pass on to you, because they have the right to do it, as
Mm-hmm.
as they say to
Mm-hmm.
themselves.
Yeah.
But it's actually not true. But people have a right towards commenting
Yeah.
until and unless we teach them a lesson.
Yeah.
So let's talk about those.
I think,
So yeah.
yeah, we actually did a lot of educational stuff prior to this
Mm-hmm.
through our agency, because they knew it's going to be an issue for us as well as the child once they get of school age. Kids are mean. And, I think a lot of it is just handling it with grace, because they can't help their ignorance. They're set in an old mindset of what something should look like, and just showing them the grace and the love that we've been given, and also not tolerating it at the same time,
Yes.
gracefully saying, you have a right to your opinion, but I would like it to not be shared with us.
True.
you know
True.
so that's kind of what we're going to try to raise Naina in. And just, people are going to say some things out of ignorance. And we know that you're smarter than that, and you don't have to tolerate it. So
Yes. Yes. So you also belong in the society.
yes.
Everybody belongs.
Yes, absolutely. She was always meant to
Yes.
be here. No matter the journey she got here, she was always meant to be here. So
Yes.
yeah.
So it is upon us and the way we raise the child.
100%. Yeah.
Yes. And how mentally strong we are.
Yeah. And making them feel like they're secure, like that they're safe no matter what others
Most important,
say.
yes.
Yeah. Like they can come home and tell me about it and feel it's okay to talk about it. I think that's a big part too.
All right. So tell us about Naina. How has it been getting along with her, and what are the likes and the dislikes?
Yeah, well, she's full of attitude, which is good. She has a right to be full of attitude.
Of
So
course.
she's not speaking yet, as we
Hmm.
know. So she's deaf, but she's picking up sign language so fast. She's so smart, and she gets the point across with what she's trying to say. She'll sign things like all done with like a sassy attitude, or she'll roll her eyes, if she doesn't like something. I'm serious. Yeah. Or like we'll have a stare down a lot of the time, like a 3-year-old, she's still 3. And if I tell her
Hmm.
to do something and she knows what I said, she'll just stare at me like, make me do
Really?
it. And I'm like, I will make you. Yeah, a normal 3-year-old. Okay. She's still a normal 3-year-old, but she is full of joy, and she just gets so excited so quickly, and she just finds like happiness in the little things. It's almost, since she can't hear, she's more in tune with what she's seeing visually.
Right.
So she'll see a bird on a walk and she'll just get so excited. Or we have a dog that adores her and she adores him, and they will
Mhm.
snuggle. She is such just like a kind heart, which is beautiful to see through what she's been through already. And we're finding out what she likes and doesn't like. Coming to America, she does not like sweet things, which is crazy to
Oh.
us,
Hmm.
or tart things. She does not like any fruit. She will not touch it.
Hmm.
But the girl
Hmm.
loves some carbs, so she'll eat potatoes and rice all day long. So
Oh.
yeah, we're still figuring each other out. But she's a good eater. We'll say that she's put on a lot of weight. She's put on about
Oh.
8 pounds, grown about 3 inches in about a year. So yeah, her hair's
It's so
grown so
lovely.
long. It's so beautiful. They're thick
Yes.
hair. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I saw her picture. I saw her Christmas pictures. They were
Yeah.
lovely.
Little pigtails. Yeah. She hates when I do them, but she looks so cute. I can't not do it.
Yes. Or the lovely fountain up there.
Yeah. Little pebbles. Yeah.
All right. So, Johonna, I'll frankly tell you about myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I grew up, when I was growing, I used to research a lot about children. I didn't understand in those years that is it my love for children or what exactly. I couldn't define it. But
Mm-hmm.
I used to tell everybody that I'm going to adopt one day, right?
Uh-huh.
So later marriage happened. I had 2 kids of my own,
Mm-hmm.
and I have this hasn't come to my mind, but I want to do it.
Yeah. That's
What's wrong with
beautiful.
me? You
No,
tell
there's
me.
nothing wrong
Because I
with you.
want to adopt a child, but I'll tell you one thing. I don't have the guts. I don't have the. Um, I'm not bold enough to face a society.
That's understandable, and that's okay. You can still share your love, and you don't have to adopt a child. Like, I think that's the key to it.
Yes. So what I do is I connect with the children. I'm into education. I'm a teacher. So I find time talking to all the children.
Yeah,
They connect well with me.
yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Ah. Kids love to be around me. So I tell them stories. We connect a lot, and probably I'm living my dream doing that.
That's beautiful. That's so beautiful.
So you're telling me nothing's wrong with me.
There's nothing
I
wrong
can
with
take
you.
some
Of
time.
course not. No, of course not.
I'm still guilty about it.
No, you should feel no guilt. Every journey's different. And that's a beautiful thing, that we can all be different.
So, Johonna, tell us, is there a message that you would want to convey to people about adoption?
Yeah, I think
Hmm.
probably the biggest thing that Shane and I want to get
Hmm.
through with our story being shared, which is, it's crazy how popular it's getting. We weren't expecting this in any way, but
Yes.
we're very thankful for it. The biggest thing is that we always want to share, like, every child's worth it. Even if there's one less orphan, that life has changed forever. And it's worth the journey. It's worth the paperwork. It's worth the tears, the money, that child's worth it. And there's never any malice or any bad feelings towards their parents for giving them up for adoption. I think it's even more courageous that they were able to do that. And for them to recognize, I cannot give this child necessarily what they need, and finding the confidence in order to give them up to somebody who can provide that. I think that's something I want everyone to hear, like they're not being selfish. They're not being irresponsible. I feel like it's even more responsible to do that and to recognize that. And so, I think that's the two biggest things, they found, that child to be worthy, and they found that child to be special, and they recognized in themselves they weren't able to provide that. And I think that's very brave of them. So we're definitely raising Naina to feel that way as well through her parents. We don't know any information about them, but we have so much love for them and so much gratitude for them for giving us this beautiful blessing. So,
Beautiful. Yes. So that's a lovely message, Johonna. So every child is when a child comes into the world, they are aware of nothing. They're not aware of the mean things people have been doing. And even if the parents are guilty of it, it's okay. And to somebody else to take care of them. It's just like when you're not ready to commit to someone, when you're in love with someone, but you don't want to take it to the next stage. This is just like that. So when you're not able to commit yourself to the person, when you're not able to take the responsibility towards their life, it is better to let go.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
Right. So I'm just getting emotional talking to you. I just don't know. So
that's okay.
Maybe the motherly hormones are running really high today.
Probably, that's probably it. They're contagious.
Yes, of course it is. So probably if I look at Naina now, the tears will be flowing through me.
Right.
All right. So lots and lots of love to your family. May your family grow more. Are you looking forward to adopt again?
We probably will adopt again. We are thinking about maybe having another biological child next.
But all the very best for that.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm getting older, so but we'll see whatever the journey leads. We have definitely talked about adopting again, but we want to make sure Naina is completely settled before we start that process. So
yes, that's very true. And also you got two sassy girls with you.
Yes, I know. Shane's like, I don't know if I can handle another girl. He's still outnumbered.
He's already handling 3.
I know. He's like, well, at least the dog's a boy,
Great. All right, Johonna. Thank you very much for being here. It was really inspiring, and it was I throughout the conversation that we had, I saw you like not one moment you regretted about what you have done. I'm sure you will never ever in your future in your life ever you would want to no, I don't want to talk about regrets at all. There are no regrets at all.
Right.
I'm so happy, and more power to you, and lots of love to the girls.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor to be here. Thank
you.
You.
I just loved having you here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm still in awe of the lovely and endearing journey of Johonna and Shane to have Naina in their lives. Again, such stories not only restore our faith in humanity, but also tells us that perseverance and never giving up on something that we truly love brings miracles in our lives and gives the best meaning to it. To let me know how you felt about today's episode, and if you have an inspirational story that the world needs to listen to, send me an email to wominspiria@gmail.com. Wominspiria pages can be found in LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. There is an Wominspiria Tamil podcast as well, in which you can listen to inspirational stories in Tamil. Also, I have a podcast called Shashu and Amma where I converse with my child about everything under the sun. It's a fun podcast. So until next time, with another inspiring soul, this is Revati signing off from Wominspiria, contagiously inspiring. Thank you very much.